The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. We are live as always on YouTube and over on Facebook. So if you're out there in the chat, say hello. We don't know that you're out there unless you do say something. If you'd like to call in or text in, yes, you can call or text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Ryan and Shelly Gates at Aegis Gun Care. That number is scrolling right down below. It is 530-364-4678. If you're a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran out there and you're in that hole, you're trying to climb your way out, trying to figure out if there's still light out there, remember, please call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I sure might be a decent ear to listen to and maybe talk you through some stuff. If you are looking for someone or someplace that can get you towards medical help, please remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are willing to help out in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please, 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 I implore you, utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, the Veteran Crisis Hotline. We are spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, please see the website marines.com. And as always, we're a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network, so please check out the website selfdefenseradio.net. Let me get this off of my ugly ass mug and say what's up to my homies out there. We got a few of them here joining, and it's like G-Webs is trying to join. I'm not really sure if he was just having issues or what, but maybe he'll come back in here in a minute. But right now, as of right now, it says devices not connected. So as soon as it gets ready, I'll let you in, but it's not letting me let you in right now. Anyways, from the great state of, I guess it's a great state, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Yellowstone is filmed there. So to me, it's got to be a great state, but for the great state of Montana and the Big Sky area, we've got the Rogue. Banshee, what's up, Rogue?
Not much. It is a great state because, well, I'm here.
Well, okay, that's fair. I think some will argue that, but hey, we'll go with it. Hey, whatever makes you feel better about yourself.
It's a state that's big enough for my ego. Let's just say that. Yeah,
right. We'll go with that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And from the great cactus state of Arizona, the Godfather himself. It's been a while, G, since you've been on the show. It's glad to have you back. What's up, G?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was muted. Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man. And from my home state, not where I live, but I always consider it my home state, from the great state of Texas, the tactical virus, leprechaun, as always, riding shotgun. What's up, Clove?
Hey.
So what is the shotgun of the week?
So just because I give you a rash, I think every week I'm going to go with something.
You do. It's okay, but it's a welcome rash.
Okay, so I'm going to go with something that should not give you a rash. Very few people in the U.S. own this. It would be amazing to own one, just simply because they're cool and you can't. But the Spas 15.
The what?
The Spas 15.
I have no idea what that is.
Google
SPAZ.
SPAS.
Spas 15 images. Oh, so it's a AR style shotgun.
It is a combination pump semi-auto. We'll run in
either
mode.
What that is? That is a pump, isn't it? I just thought that was a weird. Yeah, I thought that was like a weird thing on the bottom. That is a pump, isn't it?
It will run in semi-auto, but if you have like low brass ammo and it won't cycle, you can switch to pump.
That's pretty badass. Now
Right?
that I will not get a rash for. So
Yeah.
unknown user out there putting out the veteran crisis hotline. It is scrolling down below, but he's also putting out the website. So thanks for that, brother. Appreciate you. But yeah, that number is scrolling down below. Once again, let's go ahead and the veteran crisis hotline for anyone out there, 1-800-273-8255. So I appreciate you, new user out there. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about SHOT Show, and it's, we've all been kind of since October. So, I got registered like on October something, booked my airline tickets in early November. We booked a house maybe in like late November ish, somewhere in there around Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I think. And, we've been kind of walking on eggshells. Is this going to happen? Well, it's happening. If you guys are following SHOT Show on Instagram, they actually showed a bunch of things, them moving in, getting in their SHOT Show awnings, and some of the vendors are starting to arrive with their crates and all that. So for all those people out there, and you know who you are, that said SHOT Show's never going to happen, stick it. It's happening. No, we're really looking forward to it. I love it's my favorite week of the year. Yeah, cannot wait. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we're getting there, what we're going to be expecting and all that. But before we do, as always, we are going to go through our polls. We put out our new polls every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday mornings at 10 a.m. over in our YouTube community tab. We have a lot of fun with them. We don't try to take them too seriously. We just, it's fun. We put them out every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday morning at 10 a.m. So let's kind of go through this week's polls. Our first one was last Thursday, and it's got 1.3 thousand votes. And it says, what do you find the scariest? And your options are heights, spiders, snakes, small places, or other, and leave a comment. So I'm going to start with G. Of those four or another one, what gives you the creeps more than anything?
Well, none of them, but the only thing that can hurt you on that list is heights.
This is true. See, and I agree, kind of, because I have always said I am scared of heights, but I've come to realize as I get older that I don't think it's it's the fear of heights. I think it's the fear of falling to an unpleasant death.
Yeah, I'm only afraid of heights if I'm not stable or secure, like being
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But if I'm okay, then I don't care about being up in the air. It's neat.
Yeah, if I'm in like a skyscraper looking down, I feel comfortable. If I'm in a plane, I feel comfortable. It's just when you're up high and like you said, you're not stable, you're not secure, you're not attached to something or whatever. And at that point, is it this fear of heights or is it the fear of actual falling? So yeah, I agree with you. Is there anything that does give you the creeps, G?
I don't know, but I wouldn't tell the world. That's crazy.
You're afraid we're going to exploit that, huh? Okay, I get you. Rogue of that list or anything else? What do you find the scariest?
See, I don't know why you have to put spiders.
I will exploit it. So I'm just saying. Yeah.
I don't know why you had to put spiders and or with spiders and snakes. There are two things that freak me the hell out, but I would say snakes probably worse than spiders. Yeah,
I spiders, they all these things kind of creep me up, but snakes, man, you're talking about something that can move very fast without legs and no neck. Yeah, that shit just snakes are evil, man.
The snakes, I think the snakes took over spiders when I actually moved out here to Montana, because now we have we have rattlers out here. We didn't have them on the East Coast, but also we have black widows here too. So that's why it's kind of a up in the air on those two.
Yeah. Buck out there, the tactical fudge says heights don't hurt you. It's a sudden stop at the bottom that hurts. That's very true. So I became familiar with rattlesnakes at Camp Pendleton, and we'd be doing some humps or something, and you could hear them, and you don't know how far away they are, but you're always on the lookout when you're walking through the mountains in the desert, and you hear them, and you're like, oh, that's just the sound of like just some evils waiting for you. We have black widows here. We have brown recluses here. The scariest spider I've ever seen were in Okinawa, Japan. They're called banana spiders. I don't know if they are lethal or not. I never got close enough to one. Just if you ever get a chance, Google Okinawa banana spider. That shit will freak you out. They're the biggest things you've ever seen, and they are just disgusting looking. And yeah, so yeah, spiders are bad. Snakes. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't have an idea that Clover was that scared of snakes and stuff. Is being scared of snakes and stuff like that a factor of not like being around snakes and stuff when you're a little kid?
You know, I've always been scared of snakes. Yeah, we had snakes.
You don't even have to have it as a pet. If you know somebody that has them as a pet, you can. I mean, that's got to be different than. I know people that have never seen a snake and are super afraid of them, but they've never even seen one. And I just don't. I was just wondering if that had any.
I just snakes freak me out. Honestly, snakes just freak me out, and I think a lot of it is I remember when I was younger, and this might very well go back to the origins of it. When I was younger, we go to the lake a lot, and we were always being told, "Hey, watch out for moccasins. Watch out for moccasins; they'll attack you," and all of that. That probably didn't help from the time you're like 4 years old, hearing that these water moccasins will attack you, which they will. They're very aggressive. So that probably didn't help my fear of snakes. Being told from a very early age to watch out for this snake because it will attack you probably didn't help.
They're actually more curious, and it seems aggressive, and they can get aggressive because
they can get very aggressive.
At some point, they get too curious and too close, and
if you're anywhere near their kiddos, the babies, they actually will. And I think all animals will, but for some reason, moccasins / cottonmouths, all of those, when you get near the nest, they get crazy aggressive. And And the bad thing about moccasins and cottonmouths and all of those is they're pretty, especially for kids, man, their venom's pretty bad. You got to get taken care of pretty quickly or it could do some really harm. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Snakes have always been the one thing that just creep me out. It's not necessarily afraid of them. They just creep me out. My wife has no problem with snakes. None whatsoever. Spiders, scorpions, stuff like that. That's what gets her for sure. Spiders are for sure hers. We didn't ask Clover. Clover, I know you're a leprechaun, so you're not really scared of anything. But if you were, what would be on your list?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I don't fear the Reaper.
Okay, but, it's a great song.
The
more cowbell.
Okay, so you know, I'm a spider guy. Like seriously,
yes.
And so banana spiders are awesome.
Have you ever seen? I mean, have you seen a picture of them?
Yeah, I've seen a picture of them. I've seen real ones. Yeah.
They're
now not necessarily the Okinawan that you're talking about. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if they're all the same or not. That was the only place. That's the first place I'd ever heard of them, and they were around.
Yeah. It's a pretty common species. So yeah, I mean, rational fear. Like I'm super allergic to wasps, and so
yes, you are.
I don't want to say that I'm scared of wasps necessarily or anything like that, but I don't go poking a wasp nest or anything like that for sure. And
no, because you'll be poking yourself.
There may be a live stream on the channel somewhere where a wasp attacks me live, and I had to freaking mute the cam and feed and everything else and deal with it. But yeah, that was years ago. But they're just part of my issue with wasps too. Is they're just freaking mean. But I've learned some things with wasps too, like. If you swat at them and stuff, they actually will emit a pheromone that will call other wasps.
Dude, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's way too many syllables for me.
Well, it's a defensive thing.
No, here, as long as you take them out like a sniper or like taking out, scout taking out sentries, then you're good to go. You just got to kill each wasp, and they don't realize what's happening, and you can walk right in on them. But like you're saying, they start crying as soon as you swat at them. They cry and call in the cavalry.
Yeah, you got to get them down.
Moo out there says bikini spiders. Have you ever heard of a bikini spider?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I'll just look this up real quick.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Google
I'm
it,
hitting
man.
Google, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm down with that. I'm down for those spiders. Heck yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Now, Guts of Barbecue has a legitimate point. Says, do snakes have no neck or just one really long one? That's fair. I don't know.
They're all necks and a butt at the end.
Yeah, that's true. Or a rattler, whatever, Buddy Lance out there is on the Facebook side. He must be on the train. There he goes, getting on that midnight train. I'll have to listen and replay. Be safe out there, bro. Snob says wasps are assholes. I would tend to agree with that. So wasps, do you consider bees also in that same thing? Like, Clover, will bees give you the same effect as a wasp will?
No, bees, hornets, yellow jackets,
mud daubers.
Well, I've never been stung by a mud dauber. I don't know how in the world you would get stung by a mud dauber. Quite honestly,
I don't know of anyone that ever has. I just didn't know if that's something.
I don't know if it's
in the
possible.
wasp family, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's possible. Yeah, but dirt daubers.
You can get stung by a bee.
So yes,
no, a mud dauber.
So dirt daubers. I heard dirt daubers and wasps don't get along.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've heard that. I don't know if there's any truth.
To me, they look like they should be in the same family. Believe it or not.
So I've only been stung by a honeybee once, and I have picked up things that were literally coated with honeybees before, and moved them right because somebody lived like a half drink, Coke or Sprite's the worst, right, out on a summer day. And that thing will be covered with bees. And I'll walk out there and I'll kind of brush enough off I can grab the can. And the whole time I'm taking it to the edge of the yard to pour it out or whatever, dude, there's more bees are lighting on it and everything else. And the only one time I've ever been stung by a honeybee, it lit on my hand, apparently, because I run my hand into my pocket and something got me. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? And I pulled my hand out and a little bee fell off. It killed him.
And it killed him,
yeah. And that's the only time I've ever been stung by a honeybee. And we've smoked hives, we've done all kinds of things, and I've never been stung by a honeybee.
Yeah, I've never been stung.
If you really care, you can take that bee to a insect veterinarian and save its life.
A beekeeper, for instance, yeah.
It's really long life, yeah.
Maybe this is the reason why I don't like honey. She says honey equals bee poop.
No,
so
you don't like honey?
It's more like bee vomit.
I don't like honey. No, I'm not a big honey fan.
I would always have at least a big jar of honey around because of its, what do they call that, antiseptic properties and things. I mean, it's
got so many good properties. Yeah,
my wife loves it and she puts it on everything. And we've got some. And I have said that if I get sick or something, which I don't get sick hardly ever, but if I get like a sore throat, they'll like hot water with some salt or some honey in it or whatever. And all that, but I'm not the guy that's going to like put honey on biscuits or on rolls or just put honey on. My wife will put, one of the weirdest things she makes is she'll make like some Texas toast and she'll put like some peanut butter and honey and some sugar on it. And it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? But she loves it. So it is what it is.
I had a doctor one time prescribe me local honey because of allergies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So that way that all the pollen and stuff that are in the honey, to make the honey, it's kind of in there, and you kind of build up your immune system for the allergies.
Yep. Well, right now with this poll here, with, like I said, 1.3 thousand votes, coming in first place with 40% is Heights. Mm-hmm. Heights with 40%. Once again, I still think it's the fear of an impact or falling, but I agree. I would have voted Heights. Probably that or snakes. We did have a bunch of others, and a lot of them were the current government / Biden / Harris, a combination of all that, which is all legitimate and fair. So I don't want to discard those. Our second poll, which was Saturday's, got 1.1 thousand votes. Says, what's the best series? We're talking like TV series, and the options that I had. And I try to put an other because there's so many good ones out there. But the choices that I gave you were Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Yellowstone, or other. Let's start with Clover this time. Of those four, or do you have an other of what your favorite series is?
Of those, the only what were they again? Sopranos, Game of Thrones,
Breaking Bad, and Yellowstone.
So out of those, the only one I watched is Sopranos.
Okay.
So I would have to go. I'd have to go with that. I mean,
right.
Trying to think lately. The Boba Fett's out. Of course, it's not over, so it's kind of hard to judge that. And then
Mandalorian was a great one.
Yeah, and then you've got what am I thinking? Cobra Kai. I'm really been
Dexter
digging
right
Cobra
now.
Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai is a great one. I'm watching the last season of Dexter right now. 10 years in the making. It's phenomenal so far. But yeah, there's so many great ones out there. Let's see here. G, what about you? Of those, do you have a favorite series or any? It doesn't have to be one of those four. Just what's your kind of favorite series that you look back and say, man, that's probably my favorite that I've watched?
Are you talking about all time?
Yeah, I just put like the ones that are recent. I put a lot of people watch are Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, and Yellowstone. But I put other in there and kind of said,
of that style, I have seen Yellowstone, and I get why people like it. I haven't watched any of those other ones, but I can't watch that kind of stuff. I can watch like sci-fi, I guess, but even The Expanse, I think, is really good. People say, but I tried watching it and I couldn't watch it.
Okay, I've heard a lot of people talk about that, but I've never watched it.
Super good, but anyway, it's all like those. It takes way too much attention. I'll give watching something about as much attention out of my brain as I give the radio. So I'd rather watch Star Wars 100 times over because I just have it on so that I don't hear whatever noises are in my ears or whatever from being deaf. So what I mean, like just like having a fan going. I just don't like hearing the whine and the noises you hear when you're deaf. So I don't pay attention to movies, and I'll never sit down and watch. I mean, I feel like it's punishment when I go to somebody's house and they're watching a movie. I don't know how people can just do. I just am so used to doing multiple things, working on the computer like this, and having a movie going like that. I never watch those TV shows that get that involved. I can't keep up with them. Yeah. So I just don't have an answer. The stuff I watch is like cartoons and little stuff that's segmented that you don't really have to pay attention to or keep much of a story. Unless it's sci-fi, then I'll pay a little bit of attention to sci-fi. Yeah, like Reno 911 is a good example of one that I'll watch that because you can laugh at it. I'll forget everything, and I could watch the season 3 times over before I remember I'm watching a rerun.
Yep. A lot of people voted other, and were a lot of votes for Sons of Anarchy, which is one of my all-time favorites as well. I love Sons of Anarchy. I wish they would have. I wish they would have ended it like after season 3 or 4. Because at that point, it was one of those things where you just tell they were making money and the storyline kind of got all jacked up. But the first few seasons of Sons of Anarchy were unbelievable. A lot of people were voting for Westworld and for Boardwalk Empire. I've never seen either one of those. Have you guys seen Boardwalk Empire or Westworld? Apparently Westworld's a huge one. I've heard of it. I just have never seen it before.
Yeah, we watched Westworld. We got into season 2, started season 3, and we lost interest in it. We thought the beginning of it was good. Boardwalk Empire, we watched 1 episode and we were done.
Yeah. I watched the Westworld with Matt and all them when they were watching it, but it was a challenge to keep up with. It was so slow and kind of boring. And then when it finally paid off, it was boring. It wasn't even fun.
Yeah, so I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it because a lot of people love it, but
it kind of looked good, and it was kind of like building up. But
it was like a Western or something, like a futuristic Western or some shit. But it seemed weird to me, and I was like, I'm good.
Well, the premise is interesting, but they didn't do anything with it. Like the premise is like a Disney World, except there's like Data from Star Trek, like a lifelike robot that you can't tell is a robot. Right, so it's like all these robots running around that you can't tell they're robots.
Gotcha.
And instead of being like doing anything interesting, people go around killing them. So like, I want to be a mass murderer or something. It's all the weird and twisted like that. Like I'm just gonna go to this place and be evil, or I don't know. And then it doing all kinds of weird things to these robots. And then the robots obviously, well, not obviously, but at some point the robots get sick of that, and I think that's what happens, right? And they leave or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Wes out there and Chris from the 740 says Boardwalk Empires. Both of them said that's great. As of right now, 1.1 thousand votes at 30% is Breaking Bad. And then at 22% is Game of Thrones, 20% is Yellowstone, 16% Soprano, and 12% was other. And I said most of the other was like Sons of Anarchy, Westworld, and Boardwalk Empire. So
what's the gist of Boardwalk Empire?
I don't know. Rogue, do you know anything about Boardwalk Empire or anything?
Sorry, I was playing with my crayons over here.
Is that what you said? Is that okay?
No, it's to tell you the truth, I couldn't tell you because it was just that memorable to me. We watched first episode and we were just done, so I couldn't even tell you what it's about.
Gotcha. What's your favorite series, either from that list or just whenever?
So it's funny that you're talking about Breaking Bad, because my wife and I just rewatched the entire Breaking Bad series, and it's funny that Sons of Anarchy came up because we're just starting Sons of Anarchy all over again.
Okay, you have watched it though, right?
Oh yeah, both of them. We've watched them a couple of times, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna go a little different. I mean, I do like Yellowstone. We watched that, but I'm gonna say Battlestar Galactica, and it's gonna be weird.
Wow. Yeah, that's been a while. I heard about that in a minute.
Well, and that's the thing is when they came out with a new one, I was like, I'm not going to get into this thing. I like the original, but I'll tell you, I kind of like where they went with the new one. They kind of lost their way in the middle.
I didn't know there was a new. I thought you were talking about the original one.
No, they redid Battlestar Galactica.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
that's why I say science fiction. I'll make an exception for it. That's
that was
stuff.
They redid that with.
It was weird, but then I was like, all right, I get it. They did it well.
Yeah, that's because they had Katie Sackhoff in the in the reboot.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's funny because she was Starbuck. And I was trying to figure out how they made it. She actually did a pretty decent Starbuck in that.
Nice. Real quick little palate cleanser before we move on to the next poll was Born to Be a Shooter. Josh says, any of you guys had any experience looking through an Arkin EP4? Not a lot on YouTube showing the view through one. I don't believe I have. Have you guys ever looked through an EP4 from Arkin?
No.
Was that an optic?
Yeah.
Optic. I don't know if I wouldn't know if it was an EP4 or not. I don't remember. So I have
looked through some Arkins, but I don't know which ones they were. And I've liked the reticles of all the Arkins that I've looked through. One of them might have been an EP4. I don't know.
Decent clarity, decent light and everything. I mean, they seem to be decent, but I don't know if it was an EP4. So
I wouldn't either.
Didn't pay that much attention.
All right, so the last question ties into what we're talking about tonight, and this was put out yesterday. We've got about 600 votes in the last 24 hours. It says, how do you feel about SHOT Show coverage? And I was coming from it from like a viewer standpoint, and the options were, I want to see everything, I'm okay with some, can't stand SHOT Show coverage, and then what is SHOT Show? And so obviously, let's go to Rogue, because Rogue is this will be his first time going to SHOT. So in years past, when it became SHOT Show week, where did you fall on the craziness of the SHOT Show coverage from all the channels? Did you want to see a lot of it? Did you get tired of it, or what?
I got tired of it. I did, and I don't know if I was tired of it just because I was seeing the same thing over and over again, or I was just jealous that I wasn't there.
Probably a little bit of both.
a little bit, yeah, a little bit of both. So I eventually stopped. I stopped watching that stuff. To tell you the truth, the only thing that I can think of SHOT Show coverage is actually from Clover doing a video back at the house during the night, and you could hear the airplanes going over top.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were right there. That was at the townhouse probably. So we were right there next to the airport.
Yeah. That is literally the most memorable SHOT Show coverage, was him out there talking to the airplanes flying over.
Yep. My favorite SHOT Show video that I ever put out was I was drunk a couple years ago after the Marine party and did a Patreon only video. I don't remember much of it, but that was the most fun video to shoot. But no, I get it. I get where people are coming from when they say they get tired of SHOT Show, because to a certain extent, the vast majority of YouTubers out there that are trying to put content out as quickly as they can, and they're all going to go to the big dogs that are unleashing the new guns, the new Glock, the new Smith, the new Ruger, the new CZ, the new SIG, they're all going to try to go. So your first 2 days are everyone trying to talk about the new gun that's out. And so, yeah, how many times do I need to see, no offense, but a lot of what SHOT Show is if you just do it like everyone else does and not even try to get creative, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. But a lot of the guys don't even try to get creative. They go to the SIG booth, they find one of the people that are going to give their 2-minute spiel and they film it. Well, that dude's giving the same spiel to you and 27 other people. So if you're not even trying to get creative with questions and all that, just say, hey, the camera's rolling, go ahead and talk about it. Well, you're going to get 27 straight of the exact same thing. So I can see where that gets a little annoying. We're going to talk about different ways that we try to make it a little bit different, putting content out there and ask questions to the viewers out there that aren't able to go to SHOT. What all do you guys like to see, or what would you want to see? That might actually help some of us get an idea of some of the content that you guys might want to see that's a little bit different than what everybody else is. So I want to bring G in here first, as he's been going since 2005, 2004, something like that. It's like your 16th or 17th SHOT Show, whatever it is. Obviously, you've kind of seen it all, from just taking pictures all the way to people going live. Right, the last couple of years. From your experience, I know we've talked about this a lot in other chats and all that. From your experience, do you like the way that the quote unquote YouTubers or the quote unquote media is covering SHOT Show now, or do you prefer the way it was 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really care one way or the other. Honestly, the YouTubers came around in 14, and I don't know how many people were around back then. Show of hands, or how many people started watching videos from SHOT Show in 14. Because before then, it was mostly videos on YouTube shared on the forums. So in 14, it was like your YouTubers that everybody still knows today, I would think. I don't really keep up with who other fancy YouTubers are. But it's been about the same, where like pretty much what you guys just said. Some people go there and do their thing, and then people get just either sick of it or what. Everything you guys just said, I was just going to say it's been exactly that for years. I mean, you guys know every single year there's a bunch of people that can't stand it. And then there's a group of people that can't wait because they look forward to the stuff. And then some of those are the same exact people. Some people are like, hey, it's awesome. And then they get sick of it, because why not? You can only hear about a thing so many times. So for me, I've always been, I look around. SHOT Show is way more than just that stuff on the table. And there's so many of us that are paying attention to that stuff on the table. For a while there, you guys have been going for a while. I pay attention to different things. I got to focus every year, but I can't say that what was the question? If I like any of it, or if I'm
did you prefer, from your point of view, like the way you cover?
Because it was just so much different back in the day. I mean, we had to we had to educate people on what the internet was. So it's just black and white difference, right? So it's just different. You couldn't do that. And now it's just and we've kind of adjusted. So for me, I like the flux of it now. So, and we're in a positive way. Let me put it this way. I hear what you guys are saying, but I'm going to answer it weird anyway. We're in a time when we're not under fire and we're not under stress. So I'm looking forward to SHOT. There's going to be people that are upset about it, but those are the people that are going to be upset if you gave them a bowl of marshmallows because they wanted a bowl of ice cream, right? Like they're just, some people are not going to be happy about nothing.
No doubt. To answer Clover's question, he said, without cheating, what is SHOT Show? There's a tie in my opinion. The first one is from Moo. SHOT stands for Snob Has Oversized Tummy. And then Calaveras coming in with Demo Ranch Hates Kids. Either one are acceptable, but I'm going to go to Clover since he put the question out there. Which one's the winner?
Oh, it's got to be Demo Ranch Hates Kids. Out of those two, without a doubt. Absolutely. Come on. That was a wonderful thing that was happened.
Created.
Well, it wasn't a wonderful thing that was created. It wasn't a wonderful thing that happened. It
was created. It was a wonderful creation out of why it was created. The crappy reason.
It was a fun creation, because anytime the channel that shall not be mentioned is ever mentioned, I don't even care whose chat you're on. Somebody out there throws the hashtag. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Now, DJ Play Nice says, how about covering the people who are also covering shot? And we've talked about doing that. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people, I did that 2 or 3 years ago. And I would bring a bunch of other YouTubers and different people that are covering the show. And I'd ask them 2 or 3 quick questions. What was your favorite thing you saw? And just ask them questions about their experience at shot. And it's, it's pretty cool. Everyone has a different reason why they're covering shot and all of that. So go ahead.
Well, then in the media room, there's interviews and different things of that nature that go on with exactly what DJ's talking about. So it's just there, when you've got 14, 15, 1,600, 1,800, 2,000, 2,500, however many media people, I mean, are you able to keep up what all of them are doing, Yeah. And the answer to that's no, of course not.
Yeah. Bring in Clover and say, from year one of going to shot for you to now, as far as how you're covering it, what's the biggest difference in how you're covering shot from first year to now?
Dude, I am like fly by the seat of my pants big time. I mean, I do put my wish list and some types of plan together, but I also put that together knowing full well that after the range day, that's going to change. After day 1, it's going to change. Day 2, day 3, it's going to change. That list is not going to end up being what I do. There is no way that you could go in. Well, let me back up. You could go in with a set list and accomplish that everything on that list within SHOT Show week. And you could do that.
Plus 40 other things.
Probably, yeah. But here's the thing. If you are so focused on my list, my plan, my whatever, you are going to miss so much other opportunity that could be the greatest thing that ever happens to you that year at SHOT Show.
Well, you remember our first year, and I want to tell you this from experience. I went about it the very, very wrong way my first year of shot because I didn't know, and I wanted, and it was great. It was a great thing that happened, but I set up literally like over the 4 days, like literally like 20 plus interviews. And I didn't know the layout of shot. I didn't understand all of that. And some of them were half an hour in between. Well, one of them would be downstairs in the dungeon and then on the 3rd floor or whatever. And I'm running the whole time, the whole 4 days I'm running. And I was basically running between interview to interview to interview. Now got some great content, made some cool people. But I remember telling Clover when I got home, I was like, I didn't really see shot. Like I saw the 20 booths that I had interviews in, and then intermittently saw some stuff walking around when I could, but my head was down to this closed schedule that I created for myself. And so I didn't really see shot that much. In the last few years, I've really concentrated on seeing shot, and I've got 2 or 3 things that I've got now, but a lot of those are necessary appointments that we all have. But I try to limit that to the 3 or 4 or whatever. And then the rest of the time is exploring, especially now this year with the new Caesars coming out. I want to go explore that and do all this stuff. But, and the greatest thing that G ever told us, and I think Clover, you'll agree, was you got to stay fluid. Yep. And that is so true.
I will forever remember that. I mean, that was amazing advice. It was.
I wish I would have listened to in the first year because I was not fluid.
So I'm with you. So like I have no more than like 1 hard and fast appointment a day. No more.
Yeah. That's the same way here.
Period. No more than that. Right. And that's if I even end up doing that. And so here's the thing. What a lot of people don't know is very early on, you'll start getting, I would say mid-December-ish, definitely by the first of the year, you start getting these, hey, schedule an appointment with us, blah, 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 right?
Ugh, yeah.
And you're tempted as a new creator, you're tempted to do that. And I understand.
That's why I did that. That's why I did that, because I was so happy to get I hadn't heard of half these companies. Like, oh, hell yeah, let's schedule an appointment.
So I think I understand. I think I understand why they do that. I think I get it. They're trying to maximize their time and whatever.
Sure.
And, there's so many people that want to come by and do interviews and do other things. And to each one of them that I was interested in or that I currently work with in some way or whatever, I shot him an email back and never won it and said, hey, I appreciate the heads up, the opportunity. I plan on stopping by and trying to see you, but I've got to remain fluid. I've got to, there's just, there's too much on my plate to, try to get done at this particular point and everything else, blah, 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 blah. But, I hope to stop by and, at least have a couple of minutes with you, this, that, and the other. And every single one of them got back and they were nice as they could be. And they're like, oh yeah, we totally understand. Come on by and regardless, we'll make a couple minutes for you. Not a problem, So.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot, and I've had a couple of companies, obviously, that I've worked with that I've said, okay, and they say, hey, you need to come by. For sure, definitely will. And there's a couple of things that I've got to be at specific times, but it's only like 2 of them. The rest of them, they're like, hey, make sure you stop by. And I was like, yeah, how about like Wednesday after lunch? Or Thursday after lunch or something. And they're like, yeah, that's perfect. And so I said, I'll be there someday after lunch or something. So it's not like it's a time, it's between 1 and 5, I can be there. But I'll say, yeah, I'll be there like Thursday after lunch. Hey, that sounds great. Looking forward to seeing you again and all that. So I've kind of said at least a day, maybe,
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Monday is industry day at the range. Tuesday is actually the first day of SHOT Show. And yeah, having appointments on Tuesday bites. Big time.
Yes, it does. I had 7 of them on Tuesday. One of them at 8:30. Now, the cool thing is that was when I met Julie. That was my very first piece of content and interview at SHOT Show. My first year was meeting Julie Golub. Now, I had talked to her a couple times, but never in person. And now we're friends and all that. But that was, I will say that the only good thing about having an 8:30 interview, because her booth appearances started at 9 there at Smith & Wesson booth. She says, hey, can you be there about 8:30 before I have to start doing my Smith & Wesson thing? I was like, yeah, no problem. So I go in there, we do our thing. Like I said, we hung out for about 15, 20 minutes and it was great, but it worked out well. But yeah, I actually scheduled one for 8:30 on Tuesday morning. That's how stupid I was. So yeah, it is what it is. Now, Rogue, I know this is going to be your first SHOT Show, and I know you've listened to a lot of us talk about the do's and don'ts and all that, but have you kind of got an idea of how you want to try to attack SHOT this year?
I have no appointments. I did not set up any appointments, and I don't plan on setting up appointments.
You will set up appointments, but it'll probably be you'll meet someone at range day on Monday or on Tuesday. You'll say, hey, hey, can I come back Thursday and actually sit down and do an interview? That's what the kind of appointments you'll start making.
Exactly. So I'm just, because, I remember the story about you, Ghost, when we were talking offline one time, and you're talking about running all over SHOT, and I'm like,
nuts, man.
Yeah, that's I'm not going to do that. There are some people I want to talk to. There are some companies that I've worked with that, they're definitely going to be visits, but there are also companies I can get interviews anytime with. So I'm going to visit the companies that I've worked with and that I have relationships with and cement those relationships. Other than that, I'm out there to see what else is going on. What new stuff is there? Who has something that will, relate with my audience and my channel, and then I'll start working that.
Yep. Now, Snob, who has a link, he could have come in here and actually said this himself, but he's too good for us. Snob says he's going to be doing the video stuff the first few days, and then the last couple of days he's just going to enjoy SHOT and all of that stuff, which is not a bad idea. I think that you should spend at least one day just walking around and enjoying. Usually I do that Friday, because usually Friday I'll leave that afternoon and I'll go spend the Friday mornings kind of saying bye to all my buddies and all the people that I've met that year. But I also just kind of get to soak it in, because usually Friday mornings a little bit slower. Everyone that's wearing suit and ties all week in the booths are now wearing jeans and t-shirt, because even they don't give a shit. So it's a lot more casual Friday mornings. Everyone's just dog ass tired. And that's the fun part, to kind of walk around and all that. But yeah, I think at least putting aside one day, and Clover G, just jump in here, but setting some time aside to literally say, I'm not even going to maybe carry a camera with me. I just want to walk around and just look and have, no agenda whatsoever. I think that's part of it, because yes, we're there as media and we're covering it, but we're also gun people. I want to just look and see what's out there. I love, my favorite thing of shot, and this will be the next question. I want to start this with Clover on this one, but I want to tell you what mine is. My favorite part of shot is, this is just me, when shot first opens, everyone rushes to the main floor to go to the big dogs. I rush downstairs to the dungeon, because typically in the first couple of hours down there in the dungeon, you can feel what the vibe is. And if you're ever going to feel the true vibe of a SHOT Show, it's downstairs in the dungeon, because that's where literally these smaller companies have everything on the line. Like, they put all of their chips in on SHOT Show, trying to get a couple contracts and to sell some stuff to make their companies, because if they don't, then their business closes. So that's where I love down there in the basement, the dungeon, whatever you want to call it. I love the vibe. That's my biggest thing, is I love the vibe. But if you remember in 2020, if you guys do remember, it started out, SHOT Show started out really slow, like Tuesday and even maybe half of Wednesday. But by like Thursday afternoon, like, there was a completely different, it was an awesome vibe. But like the first day and a half of SHOT, to me, like, I remember telling Clover, like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's just kind of strange. And then all of a sudden, you just felt it building and building and building. And it became really awesome. But I don't know. It was just weird. But Clover, I'm going to sit there and say, so far, in general, what's your favorite part of SHOT?
Oh, it's in the basement. It's in the dungeon for sure.
Yeah. What about the dungeon? Do you like the is it the vibe? Is it the companies? Is it the innovation, or is it a combination of all those? Or what?
That may change this year, because, with it spread out and with other, with everything going on and whatever. I mean, who knows what that's going to look like until we get there, really. But historically, yeah, I mean, that's the smaller companies. That's the companies that are really trying to make a name for themselves. They're committed heavier than the pop-up reviews, right? Or the, what is the other one? The SHOT Show Next that we've seen, the little bitty booths. Mm-hmm. They're a little more committed money-wise, for their space and other things than those companies are. And so, yeah, I mean, those companies, the vast majority of them, they literally have it all on the line. And make no mistake, too, there's a lot of big companies that are down there. Like, big companies that has really good market share in their area or whatever, that are down there too. But PSA usually is down there.
PSA has usually one of the larger, I wouldn't say booths, I'll call it larger real estate plots. They probably get 2 or 3 booths, and they've always got a pretty big one. I know that Black Rain has moved to, they've always had a big real estate one, and they're moving to Caesars.
We'll do all outdoors
Do all has a big one. Yep.
With the type of equipment they got, they kind of need one.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there are some ones that have the bigger, they are the big dogs of the basement. But yeah, I mean, some of these, but people don't realize, in the dungeon, like, some of these have a table. It's literally like a gun show table.
Yeah.
And that's the size of their booth,
2x8 or couple of 2x6 or something like that.
Yeah. And it's small, but I mean, like I said, that's what they could afford. And there's, you'll see 50 if you see one, you'll see 50 holster companies in the dungeon.
Oh yeah.
And they're all trying to get a contract, because
and ammunition.
Yep.
Another big one down there. A lot of, in the past, we'll see how it goes this year, a lot of AR, whatever you want to call it, boutique, AR accessories, your uniques, your ghost, or grid defense, your uniques, your Gibbs, who's the other ones? I can't even think of.
Oh, there's a ton of them.
But yeah, a lot of
Faxons of the world. Faxon, no, they're upstairs. They are upstairs.
They're upstairs. Yeah, they're uptown.
I was thinking they were downstairs for some reason, but no, they're upstairs.
And Deadfoot is usually in with the law enforcement for whatever reason.
I thought Deadfoot always had a couple. They had one of the law enforcement. They also have a normal booth too, though, don't they?
They may. But I know there's Deadfoot and CMMG too are in the. They're not in the main hall or whatever you call it. They're in those rooms. So yeah.
G, over the years, I'm sure things have changed for you and all the SHOT Shows have gone, but typically, is there something that you look forward to the most about SHOT Show?
Yeah, just what it's going to look like with the change. I look at the differences and spillover and the parts where it contracts and the people that are there. Like, I just dig walking around and experiencing it. And well, in the past, like I was saying when we were chatting the other day, looking for all the things that are different from last year, I guess, or not.
Right.
Just whatever it's not like I can remember everything, but just the way that it shifts. And I find new things to look for, new waypoints or new characteristics to check out. Like this year, it's going to be a whole different thing because everyone is going to be disoriented and looking and learning where they're at. And no one is thinking this is where it'll be permanently or this is where. So it's just going to be a very interesting state of flux. So that's going to change the playing field. When you went to SHOT Show, you didn't realize when you guys started going in 17, 16, whenever that was, you guys. 17? Remember, so whenever that was, that had been 7 or 6 or 7 years, whatever many years that people had been going to the same place in the same layout. So when someone needed to go somewhere, they went there, right? All those people that are basically working there at SHOT Show, now there's going to be a lot of wandering and wondering what's going on, and maybe people will be using the SHOT Show app, maybe not. Maybe a lot of wandering and hanging out in the aisles, a lot of conversations happening, just in happenstance where people meet. So it's either going to make attention or it's going to make it really laid back. It's going to be a different thing than we're used to on so many different levels. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to. Not that that's crucial or anything, but of all the things that I can't help but see it. It's just part of it. When I go there, I can't help but see that. So that's the part that I enjoy the most. And now I'm getting to, now that I know who they are, I can see the activists, the Second Amendment activists walking around out there. So, trying to facilitate what they might need, help them out, like giving Charlie the van, making sure that people know about the Amanda Sufcool being the first female syndicated radio show host on Radio Row there, that kind of stuff, just letting people know about that kind of stuff when you hear a conversation, drop something in there, like, hey, who's changing the face of firearms ownership in the United States? The DC Project. If you're looking for a place to drop that 10 grand, maybe you talk to one of those ladies. That kind of stuff.
Set up with some other organizations. Try this one out. Absolutely. No doubt. Real quick, G23 says, have you ever had a Klinger holster hit your mag release and drop your mag? Never. And I've got probably 10 different Klinger holsters for 10 different guns. I've never had that happen. So I don't know. I couldn't help you with that. I'd call them, and it might just be something they can fix real easy, but I'd definitely call them. They're really good people, really awesome customer service. Yeah, just give them a call. They'll take care of you for sure. Now, Rod out there says, Ghost, if I was going to be hunting, if I was going, he'd be hunting down the YouTubers for autographs. That's what show's all about. SHOT Show's all about, isn't it? Absolutely. It's all about getting selfies with all the famous people and taking pictures, not of the guns. It's taking pictures with gun bunnies and with famous YouTubers and famous celebrities. That's what SHOT Show's all about. For sure, 100%. Rich out there has a question, and Rogue, Clover, G, you guys chime in. What are the odds of federal demoing the 30 Super Carry during range day? Have you guys heard anything about them demoing that?
I would say pretty good, but
I would say there is a reason why. If it's out, and they're probably going to have it.
There are rumors Vista's not going, but those rumors have not been confirmed, and they are still on all the lists I'm looking at. And NSSF's been updating those lists almost.
We saw Beretta was still on there, though.
Yeah, Beretta's out.
Right, but I'm saying they're still on the map or whatever.
Yeah, they were a few days ago. Yeah.
They may have a booth. Some of them, their booth is going to be there, and then some of them.
Well, that might happen, right? Because it's not like they go, oh, you know what, turn the truck around, because the truck was there a week ago. And if they're in
they
line,
just might hire a couple local people to sit in that booth or something, who knows?
Well,
I think it'll be an empty booth, or it'll just be like, when they get to their stuff, they'll just say, don't set it up, and put up one of those curtains around it or something.
Yeah.
We'll see. That'll be one of the interesting things.
Smith
it's all
is going, they are
they've never taken a year off and then had all this concern and that kind of thing. So this is all unprecedented how they're reacting to it and that kind of thing.
Yep. Snob said that Smith's going and they are in big with Federal in this 30 super carry. So if Federal might not have a booth at Range Day, they might have something at the Smith booth. So
how epic will it be if who is this? Federal is going to have the 30 super carry and they're going to be all walking around. They'll have a bowl of it out there. They always have like a bowl. Like if you go somewhere and they have candies out, they'll have a bowl of it for people to fiddle with, just like they did with the 40. You know where I'm going. Smith and Wesson's going to walk around going, we're about to make one. We're going to make one. We're almost going to make one. We're about to make one.
Wednesday.
And then Glock's going to walk right over there and Glock right back. And they'll be like, by the third day of shot, it'll be like,
you'll have the gun.
By the second day of shot, it'll be like, here's the Glock 19 or 19 and a half or some number that has nothing to do with 30.
And 30 super carry.
Yep, the Glock 50 and 30 super. Yep, they're not careful.
Awesome. Yep. Rogan, bring you in, and since you don't have a favorite thing about SHOT because you're going for the first time, I'm going to say it differently. What's the one thing that you're most looking forward to at SHOT?
I will tell you the thing I'm most looking forward to is meeting all the people that are in the chat. You know, all the other content creators. I'm going to be bunking with you and Ghost you and Clover for a week. And finally meeting you guys.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Hey, that's a big risk, by the way. I'm just saying, we won't tell you that. Now we got your money. It's a big risk for you to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm willing to take that risk.
All right.
Especially since I was. Never mind. You'll find out at SHOT.
All right.
No, it's meeting all these people that I've talked to but have never actually met. That's the thing I'm most looking forward to.
Sure. I think my wife will agree with Mystic. She says she's looking forward to snob free time. I think that my wife is looking forward to a week without me in the house too. So I think that's probably something that everyone except for Clover, because his wife's coming also. She goes to SHOT Show covering as that guy's wife, Media. So she's not lucky enough to get away from him for a week. She's not only stuck with him, she's stuck with me and Rogue for a week as well. So God bless her.
Well, I mean, evenings, yes, but that's it pretty much.
Yeah, and maybe not even evenings. She might have. She goes to breakfast and she does her own thing.
You allow her to talk to other people while she's there, and she does her own thing.
I mean, allowing her is one thing. I think that he turns the other way. He doesn't like it when she's talking to other people, but I guess allowing it might be stretching it.
Most time I'm not even aware she's talking to other people. What are you talking about?
Tom says, "Oorah Ghost, how's it going, friend? Fantastic, my friend. How are you doing?" There was a question up here because this is important, at least to some of us. I gotta find it. Because
apparently it wasn't that important then.
Oh no, it's extremely important. It was a great question, but it's way up here. All right, so Screaming Skull Saloon says, where are y'all gonna go eat and what will you be drinking and what gun bunny are you looking forward to meeting the most? My favorite gun bunny that I always had to take a picture with every year, hands down, bar none, the best gun and bunny in the world is Rob Pincus. So that's the gun bunny that I'm looking forward to is Rob Pincus. Also, joking aside, the food thing is real. This year's going to be a little bit different, especially for dinner, because we usually get to eat for free most nights because we go to after events that have food. So we might be looking at other options for food this year. I'm not going to give any nights or locations away, but me and G and Clover and Snob, and there's about 10, 12 of us that always go out to eat one night. And we always go to a specific place that's kind of a ritual that we go to. But as far as food, I'll tell you the only thing that Clover and I have is a ritual is usually it's Thursday. But usually Thursday for lunch, we go over to the food court and they've got some really good Philly cheesesteaks over there, pizza. They've got a food court. It's all good. But Clover and I usually will go Thursday over to the food court, but I usually don't eat a whole lot. I'm not a big breakfast eater to begin with, so I don't usually eat breakfast.
When you're walking like multiple, I don't know, 10 miles a day, is that unrealistic?
10 miles 8 miles 11, a day? Yeah.
Like for 4 days potentially, you're not like, oh, let's eat a giant lunch of greasy food or something. It's like, maybe a granola bar or something and keep going.
Yeah, I'll usually go to the media room around lunchtime, and like they'll have some fruit or some kind of packaged something, not like a sandwich or anything, but like I don't know, like a cookies or something. I'll just grab something to kind of tide me over. Usually what I'll do at the beginning of the week, I'll go to Walmart. Excuse me, and Clover knows this, but I'll go to Walmart, get a loaf of bread and the goober, which is like the peanut butter and jelly mixed together. And I'll make every day a couple sandwiches and throw in my backpack, and I'll just kind of walk around. I usually don't eat lunch. The only day I really eat lunch is Thursday with Clove, but I usually don't eat a whole lot. It sounds crazy. I don't eat a whole lot during shot. What about you, G, Clover?
I think that they should have they're missing opportunities for all those food things, because there's a ton of different food things there, like not just food, but processing, cooking, all the stoves, like all kinds of stuff. They're missing so much opportunity to feed us, and not everybody, but the media. It shouldn't just be like, oh, we're paying for your, sometimes it's good food, but sometimes it's not. Like sometimes here's a box of cereal and some milk from like cafeteria or something, and sometimes it's fancy pitcher of fancy milk and like bowls of cereal you have to pull out with a spoon or whatever, so they always just buy us food from the store when they could be bring in whatever their product or whatever it is they're making and show that off, right? But
now, it will be interesting this year with the house, and with not many parties happening this year. We could have like a spaghetti night. We could go to the grocery store and cook at the house if we wanted to. But it's going to be a little bit different this year. But that is the nice thing about getting a VRBO or whatever it's called, is having access to a kitchen. If we wanted to just cook at the house, we could, and make spaghetti one night, and that might last us all week if we want a big old pot of spaghetti.
Talking about the NRA show does food in the media room now. Back in the day, the media room at NRA show is like some sodas sitting out on the table, not even in cold or anything. They were just like cans of soda sitting on the table.
Yeah, it's like finger sandwiches and little pastries and things like that. I wouldn't say it's better. I wouldn't say it's better than Shot.
But you like the boxes of cereal at Shot shows. That's what you're looking for.
That's what I was saying. You're talking about that. Just go in.
Shot show lately has had like catered pastry stuff. Like
but it's gone like the first 10 minutes. So
no, not last year. I mean, it does go, but not like in the past years where they bring out one tray and it's gone by all the fat guys.
So I wasn't
now
really
it's like tray
it.
after tray after tray. They were trying to make us happy.
Really good brownies last year. Had some good brownies and stuff.
I mean, there must have been. I took pictures of it, like a dozen different. It was like a buffet. It was like a dozen different things, and they'd keep replenishing the what do you call it, the plate. But then it was also like, as long as they have a good assortment of like fruits and weird stuff, then those people don't have to take a pastry, and the pastry people don't have to take a banana. So everybody's happy when they have a variety, and that's what they've done the last few years.
Well, it was funny because I don't eat
like Stark.
Yeah, and I don't eat a whole. Like I said, I don't eat breakfast usually, and I don't eat a whole lot of lunch. But it was funny because they never touch the fruit. Yeah, I never have. I don't eat breakfast.
I keep saying when Becca and Shot was old, like all back in the day, there was fewer media, and they were trying to make us happy, so they would give us a lot more stuff, and the food was amazing in the mornings, like scrambled, like real food, like going to a buffet or something, right? A Vegas buffet where you have like waffles and pancakes and omelets and all that stuff, like a real breakfast. Like they'd have that, but it would be eaten by all the writers, like they'd go there, they'd know that was part of the deal. They would go there and eat breakfast there. So you'd have to get there early. And then we would get there, luckily, because we weren't exactly worried about that back in the day. We would get there for the donuts and be mad when the donuts were gone. So I can remember like a buffet being in there. And then there was years of like, oh, you want water? Okay, we'll get some water. Like, and here's some cold or warm sodas. And then now it's been pretty consistently all that weird coffee stuff, like the fancy coffees, like, those big, am I still connected? Oh. Or is he the one that dropped?
He dropped. Yeah.
Oh, I was watching him going, am I frozen? Okay, so
No,
do you know what I'm saying about it? It's been back and forth. Now I'm just impressed lately, the last couple of years. I guess it could go the opposite way. There's no consistency at all. And it goes from awesome to bad overnight, like in 1 year. It doesn't kind of get better. It's just different every year.
Well, I mean, people, what you say is true. People can have all the pastries and the fruit and all of that because, all year long, I don't get to eat cereal, or I opt to not eat cereal. I could eat whatever I wanted if I wanted to, but SHOT Show, obviously, that is cheat week, big time. So, I'm all about the cereal. And what's cool about the cereal is you can take a box of Cheerios or whatever, a couple of them, stuff them in your bag, and you got snacks for later. So it just works.
I guess I happened to kick something and restart the old laptop, so that was fun. Had no idea. I shouldn't swing my long legs. That's what my long legs must be what's getting it.
But yeah, what was the question? I was talking about going out to eat
food. Like we just want to feel like what's kind of like do we have any special place that we want to go to, or what's kind of food rituals?
Like you said, right? I mean, we usually try to eat lunch one day, because just one day.
Yeah, just one.
And we go to the food court of the hotel, not the places inside SHOT. They do have those places, but they're super freaking expensive, and it's honestly not that great. But
again, it fluctuates. I've had people, because I'll say that, and then people will go, "Oh my goodness, it's so good this year." So usually, but it fluctuates.
But different people have different tastes too.
Vendors.
Right?
Oh no, that's a good point. That's a super good point. Some people eat cafeteria food and think that it's grandma's cooking.
Sure.
Yeah. Like we'll go to that food court out there in the hotel because it's the same every year. You got the cheesesteak place, you've got the salad place, you've got the pasta place.
Changed, so they're consistent. They don't float.
And so every year, hey, I can go get my cheesesteak and Clover can go get his burger or whatever, Mm-hmm.
And then you got, you can't do Vegas without doing a buffet one night. I mean, you just can't do at least one night. You just can't do it.
Well, that's the thing. It's Vegas. So of all the people I know that go to Vegas, y'all are the most non-exploratory with food. Y'all go and eat at the place and then don't really go running around. I know people, well, you guys know Marco and them, they'll go super extravagant, and then all kinds of people that take advantage of the Vegas to get out and do some kind of we used to do it too, the gun shops often, because that's like your time. You're paying good money to go to Vegas, and it's in Vegas, and you want to take the opportunity. So maybe a gun shop will take their crew out to a nice place or a decent place. There's tons of places in Vegas, or depending, sometimes they like gambling, so they'll go to like a gambling place or a show or one of those things that are out. Now there's machine gun rental places.
And that's what we're talking about this year is since there's not going to be as many after late night events is, why don't we go and kind of be tourists and go just walk the strip and find some restaurant on the strip to have dinner at and do all of that stuff. So, I mean, I've been to Vegas so many times that I don't really need to, but I know that maybe Clover and Armentia haven't really seen Vegas a lot. I don't know how many times Rogue's ever been to Vegas, but Vegas is a really cool town just to experience it,
Split into two groups. One group goes to the top of one casino. One group goes top other casino. We wing a line across the two casinos and zip line across the strip.
100%. I think we need to do it like between New York, and Caesars.
All their security looks down because they're worried about
the line goes across. Well, yeah, because if you go between New York, and Caesars, you can put that line that goes right over the Bellagio and try to time your zip line run when the fountains are going. That would be fun.
So you don't get wet. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
What were you going to say, Clove?
No, nothing. I don't know what I was going to say. Be honest with you. Oh no, talking about experience. I've had a lot of people go, "Hey, we're going to go eat this $100 meal and stuff," and I get what G's saying, but I can't do it. I can't do it. Now, if I have had folks that have taken me out to eat during SHOT Show to more expensive places I probably wouldn't go otherwise, and I don't have a problem with that. I'll go on their dime. I'd be a fool not to. But it's like I just can't.
What if you did a thing where everybody took $20 and sat at a blackjack table, or everybody took $20 and sat at craps, or everybody took something, and then the winnings of everybody's $20 buys everybody dinner? So if somebody wins like $1,000,
we did that with slot machines a couple of years ago.
So close friends know this about me, and probably everybody on the panel. But I literally, my name is Clover, and I have a gambling problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I was seriously at it. I can't hardly spend time just walking through the casino to get to shot showing back and forth. Literally, elevated heart rate. It kills me. It kills me.
Oh, really?
It's
You
like
dig all
it's
that?
like a
I don't like
no,
it.
yeah. It's it's like a recovering alcoholic. I kid you not. I had a gambling problem one time, and
Well,
so
I don't care
gotta
about
stay away
that
from
part.
it.
I was just saying, like, the odds. Everybody throws in 20
Yeah.
bucks, does something, and then somebody's bound to
Well,
win something. I guess
I
it's
mean, it's
potential
like
everybody would lose, but then you
if
spend that on
somebody,
dinner.
yeah, like if somebody wanted to do that, like I would kick them $20 and they could go in the casino and do it. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
that's
gonna
what I'm
do that.
saying. I don't need to tempt
Yeah,
nobody with nothing,
yeah,
but you know what I mean.
right,
Like just the
right.
idea that everybody goes in and then it kind of like led it up to Vegas to see how big a dinner it turns out to be.
We got done in 2020 when we went to our big dinner with everybody. And as we were walking out, we just kind of stopped by and threw a couple bucks in a slot machine. I think we were there for about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah, a couple of bucks. Yeah.
A couple bucks. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. You're bad influence.
You're welcome.
I'm walking out next time. I'm walking out next time, dude. We went to Tulsa. They have casinos in Tulsa.
Now Gary says chain fire quarters. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That should be a Vegas t-shirt for you. Chain fire quarters.
Right. So yeah, but
are you like one of these people that they play the poker and they come out like rich, or is it just you like hanging out and?
No, poker I would be okay, but poker takes
I'll play
time.
poker all night long. Yeah.
Yeah, poker takes time. Poker I would be okay. That's a little different.
Because like my brother, whenever he goes to Vegas, like he'll be back in the day. I shouldn't say whenever. Back in the olden days, we go to Vegas as the family or something. He'd be like, "See ya." 3 days later, he'd come back with like $2,000. Be like, "I've been in a poker match the whole time."
Yeah, very very seldom. If I went and played poker, very seldom did I not come back with way more money than I went with. But the problem is, I won't always play poker.
Yeah,
I understand.
So I like
my
playing
wife used to go to Vegas.
So play craps in the room, and then we'd play craps in the room. I have this little craps felt, and then we'd play with like Skittles or candies or something. And once we were all convinced we had our systems that, perfected, we were all sharp and like our brains were sharp, go downstairs, lose 50, 20 bucks, bam, and then come back upstairs and eat the candies or whatever.
Right.
Yep.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah, craps is fun. I used to play a lot of blackjack. My wife and I used to go to Vegas quite frequently when I was in Pendleton, and I would win quite a bit, and then I'd always lose it all at the end because you're there for ever and you're drinking free and all of that. The last time we went, this is like when I'm making like $12,000 a year in the Marine Corps. So it's not like we were loaded or anything, but I would go there like $100 and I got up big, like several $1,000s up. I was playing blackjack. And all of a sudden I kind of looked down and I lost all my money. And I was like how the hell did I just lose like $3,500 or whatever it was? And my wife was like, "Let's go. Come on. But she wasn't pissed. Usually she's pissed. She wasn't pissed. And I was like, "You're awfully calm for me just losing a lot much money." And she opened up her purse. And then throughout the night, every time I wanted a big hand, she would take half of it and put in her purse. She had like $1,800 in her purse that she just, every time I went, she'd just grab a few and put it in her purse. And throughout the night, I thought I had lost it all, but I only lost like half of it.
Perfect. No, that's the way to do it. You've only lost what you.
I'm glad she did it because I would have lost it all. She was smart enough to know it.
You were only losing half of your winnings ever, and you didn't realize it, so you thought you were done. But that's where you would have had to have that sign of self-control and awareness to be able to be doing that yourself. Because I've done that before where it's like, oh, okay, here's all my winnings that's over the house. And then you get to that hand and you're like, oh, I'm just going to use all this. It's winnings. Oh, now it's all gone.
It's winnings. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, the house always wins. Yeah. Unless you know how to walk away, the house will win.
But here's the thing. You guys talking about gambling is the most gambling I've done at Vegas in 17 years, like in years. Right. Like I remember when I flew to Vegas one time, I played a slot in the airport because I thought it was a neat thing to do. And then
I did too. Yeah, I did too.
I play slots in the airport while I'm smoking in the closed-in jail cells or the smoking things, and I'll just sit in there.
Well, back in the day, you'd literally get off your airplane, and you could have a cigarette in your hand back then, but you'd walk off the airplane, and you walk smack dab into a thing. So it was just like a thing to do in Vegas. But anyway, I don't even walk through the casinos. Is all I'm getting at. I walk through the hallways, and I never even hit a casino, so it's never even. I mean, I don't like them. They're never quiet, right? They're always annoying. So I just don't go in them. So I guess when you guys are at your hotels and stuff, is it the kind of thing where you have to walk through them to get to the rooms?
At the hotel we used to stay in, yes, you had to.
Well, it was a room. It's a room actually off to the side. But yeah, it's right there.
But you had to walk through the casino to get to the.
Well, you had to
get to the elevator. Yes, I'm saying you had to walk. Yeah, to get to the elevator. So yeah, no, I did. I went down there. I went down there and
out the end, and like in that one, you wouldn't even remember. You wouldn't even know that it was a casino, except that it is because you're in Vegas. Sure. But you didn't even hear it.
Yeah, I went down there. I'd say what that hotel. We're not going to give the name out because that's still a hidden gem. They've got really good biscuits and gravy and a really good hamburger at that.
That's where we should go for food because pretty much everybody likes that place. Except that it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss because we've lived there too long, or I've been there too many times that it's not always great. But when it's good, it's good.
So you remember the biscuits and gravy, right?
Oh,
So I go down there and I order that, and you were at something.
You could order at 2 o'clock in the morning if you wanted to.
Yeah, you were at some place, and my wife was at some place. And y'all
I was at Sedini's house. Yeah, I was at Sedini's house.
And then I headed. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to go back over there and chill and war game my plans for tomorrow. So I was walking through and I thought, well, I'll order something to eat. Well, there was a little bit of a wait, right? And I forgot, but what I ordered was like $8 or $9 or something. And yeah, I put a $5 bill in one of the slot machines down there, and it hit like $10. I'm like I got to where I doubled it, and I cashed out and paid for my dinner and went up and ate because I was like, the timing was just right, man. I hit and it paid $10, and then they called my order, and I was like, cash it out. Thank God they did that, or I'd lost my money plus I had to pay for dinner.
Yeah, I don't remember where I was. I came back from something. It was pretty late. It's like midnight when I got back. We got back to the hotel from something. And I remember I was hungry, and so I went down to the restaurant, ordered like a cheeseburger or something. It's like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Ordered a cheeseburger, which is great because you could order food all night long. It was awesome. That was like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I ordered food. And I said, that was going to be about 10 minutes, so obviously it's going to be 10 minutes because they want you to go to the tables. So I went over to the blackjack table, and I put in like $20 in, and then it went a couple of hundred, and I was like, let's go. I was like, I'm on a roll. Let's go. By that time they said, Miller, your food's ready. And I was like, you know what? That's probably a godsend because I would have lost all of that. So I did. I actually won like $200 off of $20 in 10 minutes. Well, but thank God they called my name for the food because I probably
they actually have food challenges there too. I think G-Webs ate with us that night. Remember my wife got the burger or whatever it was, the huge burger food challenge or something.
Yep.
Like the 2-pound burger. I don't remember what it was. Something crazy.
Now, Rogue, have you been to Vegas? You're being awfully quiet. I don't know. Have you ever been to Vegas? I should have asked you that beforehand.
I've been to Vegas a few times.
Okay, so is there a favorite place that you've eaten down there that you are looking forward to getting back into when you go there?
So I'll be honest. I hate Vegas. I hate that town.
Okay.
And it's funny. I'm quiet because you guys are talking about gambling, and that's just not my thing.
No, I hear you.
Yeah. The first time I went down to Vegas, my wife and I went down for literally the day. It was Delta had a special. It was like fly anywhere in the country, as long as you completed your trip within the 24 hours.
Yeah,
it was like $150.
Sure.
So we went Christmas Day. We went down to Vegas and back.
And then caught the red eye back or something.
Yeah. And then I've been down there for conferences and stuff. And it's for me, I grew up in Philly. I moved away from a lot of people. And that's just my thing is I don't like being in crowds. So it's not Vegas itself. It's all the
You're really not going to like SHOT Show if you don't like crowds. I'm just saying.
I can deal with crowds. I just don't prefer them.
No, I hear you.
I mean, like when we go food shopping, we're like 4 o'clock in the morning, we're out food shopping just to try to stay away from crowds. I just don't.
Get busy at Walmart in Montana there? Is it pretty busy there?
Not well.
There's really, like 12 people live in Montana, right?
Yeah. Well,
they're all Duttons.
We hit 1 million, and we're getting our second seat in Congress there. Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Well, you see, and that's the thing is when we moved here to Montana, I lived in Delaware, and if you took the landmass of Delaware and Rhode Island, that is Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was our big thing, is coming from a small state to Montana. It's just that big, but no, it's
it's a big state. It's just not a lot of people there. Yeah.
There's just well, there's a lot of people in 4 cities.
Well, that's true. Okay. I'll give you that.
And that's the thing that we're having even a problem here. But it's just, I just don't like, I don't prefer to be in crowds. I can deal with it. Like I said, I lived in Philly. I commuted anywhere from Northern Virginia all the way through New York City for my day job.
Yeah.
So I can deal with it. It's just, I don't prefer being in crowds. That's all.
Yep. Shout out to G23. This is not going to go to send care package. This is going to send a care package to G-Webs. G23 says, buy G-Webs dinner on me. $50 super chat. We'll make sure we do that, my friend. We will
much
definitely
Thank you.
do that.
What's crazy is I did not even think I was going to SHOT yesterday morning. Early morning. I didn't know until yesterday, right? Today's Tuesday, yesterday morning. And then once because I couldn't make any commitments because I wasn't sure. I had this thing that was kind of potential that I wasn't going to be able to do it. So then I couldn't make any commitments or nothing. So now that I've been able to make a bunch of commitments and stuff, pretty cool. So thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Let's see.
I was going to say, though, as much talk as we made about gambling there, like I say, I'll just reiterate, like in the last 17 years I've been going to SHOT Show, that the gambling or whatever, I mean, I know that it's there, but the only time I see it is if I intentionally walk through a casino, which I never do because I don't like the noise and stuff either. And but you don't even go near them with regular SHOT. And the crowds, I guess if you wanted to, you can definitely avoid them because the crowds are just like any kind of crowd. Like they're at 9 and they're at 5. So if you go in after the big crowd, then you can go through the entire SHOT Show without touching an elbow with anybody or being anywhere near anybody. If you just, you weren't in a big hurry, you could wait out the 9 a.m. rush. And then when everybody leaves at 5 p.m. out at the same time, if you just left a little bit early or just stuck around till the very end. I mean, if it was a big deal.
Yeah. Shout out to our buddy, Mr. Big Kid. Hopefully see him. I'm sure we'll run into each other as always, but I haven't seen him since 2020 SHOT. So it'd be nice to see him as well. You were talking about gambling, G. And I see the only time that I've in the 4 or 5 shots that I've been into, the only thing that I've ever seen you gamble with is getting to the parking garage too late. Usually you're probably there before a lot of the parking attendants show up to the parking garage. You always make sure that you're going to get a good spot, especially at range day. You like being there before anyone else, so the crew shows up. So the only gambling you're going to do is whether or not you're going to show up way too early or a little bit too late for parking. So
for a long time, I used to, I think it was because we were in a casino, I would throw $20 down and that would be my gambling.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And I'm that way. If I throw 20 and it turns into 100, right on. That was fun. If I turn 20 into nothing, all right, well, and if I turn 20 into 50, I don't get antsy. I'm just like, all right, well, it wasn't a great year, but I've never had it turn into anything more than I don't think I've even had it hit 100, but.
Yeah, I don't remember what we did in the slot machines. But I said I did throw a 20 down a few years back, waiting for my burger that turned into 200. I think I hit 2 straight blackjacks, and then I think I played 5 hands or something, and I won all 5 of them. And so I was like, all right, let's go. So luckily they called my name. I was like, okay, really, that's perfect timing.
Just to get it off of the gambling thing and not
let's do that.
Whatever. Another thing is, especially because Clover is going to have a vehicle and you don't know what's happening or whatever, but something I would like to see is more of the events taking place at the gun shops or that surplus store or some of the other cool events or locations, I guess, that are in town.
Vegas, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if they don't have, well, I don't know, they'll have something at is it the Pro Gun Vegas, wherever Antares was, right?
Yep.
Like, that's an amazing facility. They could do something there. So, it'd be neat to see some stuff, impromptu stuff happening or whatever. So, there's just a lot of other things to do in Vegas. So
I think we may see some word of mouth things going on. I have a feeling with the climate and with everything going on, nobody wants to broadcast to the world and thousands of people that there's some big party, get together, whatever thing happening. And so I think we may see some more intimate style get-togethers and stuff just by word of mouth going on once we get there.
People at the booth saying, "Hey, come by so and so at 7 o'clock tonight. We're going to be having a couple drinks here."
I mean, we've seen that in the past.
Meeting at the Circle Bar, then everyone meets at the Circle Bar, and then says, "Hey, why don't we all go here?" Or whatever. That might how it happens, but there'll be some stuff happening, but it might not be broadcasted like it has been in years past, for sure. Let's see here. Okay, so let's kind of turn into a little bit about Industry Day at the range, which is a big one. I love Range Day. Rogue, this is going to be your first Range Day, obviously. Have you kind of figured out? I mean, we've talked about Range Day and all that, but do you have a game plan for Range Day? And if so, like, how are you expecting maybe to attack Range Day? Because it's a whole separate animal.
Honestly, Range Day, there is a Montana gun manufacturer that's going to be there with a new concept of a rifle that I've talked to them about. So they'll, that's really my one thing is I want to talk to them. Number one, they're from Montana. And number two, they're from the area. Other than that, I'm going to attack Range Day kind of like I'm going to do SHOT. There are some booths that I want to, some companies I want to talk to and see and play around with things. So I'm going to kind of play it a little loose on that too, just because, like I've said before, I don't know what I don't know yet. So playing
Range Day. I'm cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, G.
Range Day, you can know. It's not that hard. You can look at a map and get an idea of where it all is because there's not that many bays. And then when you get to here's the cheat for Range Day. Go in, take a left, and go up the hill, and then stand on that hill, which is the long range bay. When you're looking at a map, which is basically the middle, north and south. And then when you're standing on top of that hill, number one, you already did 99% of the work. You did have to do one way or the other, and you did it right when you got there. So everything else is literally downhill one way or the other. But you're going to have to climb that hill again. So you either go left or you go right. And you've already looked at where your place is and other stuff. But most people go in and go right? Because that's just tendency for people that don't know what's going on. Everybody else thinks they're going to win by going in and going left.
To get their coffee also. So
that's what I'm saying. Everybody else thinks they're going to win by going in and going left. So there is no win. That's the trick. Yeah. But if you go in knowing that you can know what's on the bottom of the hill and what's the top of the hill, plan to get in there and go to the top of the hill. Now you're committed. You've already figured it out. Now you've actually equated what's on that map to real life. And if you want, you just start at the long range, super boring long range stuff right there, or go down the hill and it's super boring shotguns and air guns and then some guns, or go back down the hill you just came up and that's all the CCW and AKs. Probably just, there's not even AKs anymore. Is there just CCW? And
there's not many AKs out there. Yeah.
And then the shotguns are way down at the bottom. But you can do it in one day. So you get there. I'm just saying, like, nothing you can do looking at a map is going to give you the scale. But as soon as you walk to the top of that hill, you've got the scale. You see everything left and right, or north and south, basically. And you'll know I'm in the middle. I've walked all the way to the top. I'm done. I've already done half of the work. I can just decide to go left or right. You've already kind of made up your mind. Now you can decide, go do that side. By noon or whenever you want to leave, you better be back at the hill. And then you pace yourself going the other way. So it's really easy to do media or the range day without having been there before. And you almost have to do that every year unless you're really good at knowing where it's all at.
So I have accomplished my list plus some. At least an hour or so before range day ends every year. So no, I mean it's not. No, I'm saying that to say it's not as daunting or whatever as you might think. It's really not, because you're not going to be able to do other than maybe film some B-roll. You're not going to get any content worth a crap between the wind blowing, all the gunfire, everything else. You know, it's great for some B-roll.
If you knew exactly what to expect,
guns and then setting up,
you had the best equipment, you still wouldn't get good. It's like the worst conditions ever to get video.
Yeah. Range day is great for getting B-roll, getting your hands on the gun, getting some B-roll. More importantly, talking to the people at the booth and say, okay, now I'll come see you tomorrow or Wednesday, and setting up that I'll make sure I come see you and actually talk to you at SHOT Show. You can try to do an interview, but good luck.
Well, and making a first impression too sometimes is cool there, because then when you walk into the booth later on during the show, they remember you. If they remember you from range day with all the people that come and go in range day, if they actually recognize and remember you, then you're ahead of the game. Yeah, definitely.
Now, Big Kid says he's not going to be at range day. That's his travel day. Man, I like what Snob says. Drive up in the middle of the night, park at range day. You know, it was fascinating the other day. Yesterday, I was on with G on his live chat for a while, and he just casually mentioned this, and it's just crazy to me to think about it now with all the craziness that happens at the parking lots at range day. G said that back in the day, you could literally drive your vehicles up to the bays. And he says, yeah, I used to pull up my van up to the bay. I'm like, that's just crazy to me. To think that you could just pull your van up to the base.
Yeah.
That's just crazy, though.
So whenever the Glock, I don't remember anymore. It couldn't have been the 4th gen Glock. Could it have been? It might have been the 4th gen Glock, man. Whenever that came out, would that have been 2010? Whatever came out in 2010, we went to range day and we had Angie with us. And
2010 was Glock with Gen 4, yeah.
Okay, so in 2010, we had Angie with us, and number one, we were good to go, and Angie kept us going. Like, she was right on. So we were there. We had already ate breakfast, and we were there. We were like the 4th car to arrive at the range day, and we had already been going to range day for 6 years. So, you know, it's not like we were first time at the rodeo. So instead of walking over and wasting time because we knew the Glock was coming out, we parked and at the thing, like the little rope, jumped the line and walked over to the Glock booth and just we started shooting. And they said that Angie was the first person out of the Glock factory to shoot the Gen 4. But they started telling everybody that, I think, because other people started claiming it. It was a whole thing. Well, maybe not everybody, but they told other people, I think.
But she was legitimately there that early enough to be the first one.
And we shoved her in first because she was working for WOMA at the time, right? So we're like, yeah, like get in there and be the first one to shoot a Glock, the 4th, you know, because back then we cared. Like we were trying to do reviews quick. That's why we got there early, and that's why we jumped the fence so we could be the first one to shoot a Glock. But then later on in the day when it was actually open, somebody else was saying they were the first one to shoot it, but I won't get into it. But there's reasons, you know, that they weren't the first one to shoot it when they said they were the first one to shoot it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that was.
I just want to see you climb the fence.
We were literally like, you just jump the little rope, and we were at the Glock booth. We were that's how close you parked to the media day.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Buck wants to know if there'll be any donuts. Anyone doing donuts in the parking lot this year? I really wish and the whole donut thing is when we were going to the SIG shoot last 2020, we passed G in some factory's parking lot, and he's doing donuts in the parking lot, getting his dash cam footage for his video. Did you ever put the donuts on the video?
I was driving in a circle. You can't do donuts in a 14-foot wheelbase or whatever. I was just going in a circle so that I could get thing. And I knew you guys would be filming, so I thought you were going to get video of my van.
We didn't realize it was you until it was too late. We're like driving by. I'm like, hey, wait, is that G? Is G doing donuts in the parking lot? Yeah, we didn't realize until it was too late. We would have filmed you for sure. That was hilarious. Yeah, for sure. Clover Range Day. what kind of, are you looking forward towards anything, or are you going to do anything differently this year as far as how to attack it?
I may spend a little more time over with the shotgun people, quite honestly.
Okay. For me, I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the long range stuff because I've never really done much of the long range because I never cared about it. So actually, we spending a lot of time with the long range stuff this year for the first time.
Yeah, I haven't, and you know, I just, you know, you dance with the one that brought you, and I mean, this year's been good to me with revolvers and shotguns. So spend a little more time than I normally would over there. Check out everything I can possibly check out over there, shotgun wise. And you know, if I get up, long as I get up to shoot my Chris Vector before the day's over, and I get the shotguns knocked out, I'm happy.
Now, are you going to throw the axes this year?
Oh, you got to throw the knives and axes, dude. That's swag stuff.
Do you win anything?
Yeah, you win. You win like you can win some cool shit.
That's on the north,
man.
Yeah, that's up top. It's up top. Yeah, past the long range stuff on top of the hill.
On the left. Yeah.
On the left from the
They've got some crossbows over there, and then they've got where they throw the knives. And yeah, depending on how many of them you stick, is what model buck knife you win. There's several models that they give away, and I think you only got to stick one, don't you? Just win the cheap one.
Yeah, you just got to stick one to win something. Yeah,
but I mean,
matter of fact, honestly, I think that towards the end of the day, even if you didn't hit one, they were giving you something. I think.
Right.
So it's worth bringing like a couple of light overcoats in different colors and different hats.
Right.
I don't think they care. You can go back as many times as you want.
My very similar looking twin brother said I should come over here and learn one of these axes.
So I think as long as you don't just go from the front of the line to the back of the line, if you did it and then you come back in an hour or two and did it, I don't think they would care.
I don't think they care. Do you know where Maximum Defense typically has their bay set up? They're basically right across from Maximum Defense most of the time. So
I don't go all the way up there because it just turns into food bays, and I don't walk up all into the food bays.
It's before you get to the food bays, though. It's going up there, but it's right past the long range, right when it turns into the normal bays again. It's right there at the beginning of those. So yeah, you don't have to go too far. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, G and I were talking yesterday, Clove, and I'm sure there are, but I've never really noticed them because that's not something I do. But are there like any archery bays or anything at range day? Do you remember seeing anything?
There's crossbows, but there's no
archery. Well, that's the closest thing you're going to get is crossbows. Okay, I wasn't sure.
What you get into with archery is, here's the thing about a bow, it has to fit you, and so does the arrows, really. So can you just pick up a stick and a string with any kind of arrow and fling it? Yeah, you probably could. But you're talking about if you do that, it's kind of like throwing the knives and the tomahawks, right? How many of those do they got to chase and pick up and chase and pick up and chase and pick up? Now imagine doing that with arrows that somebody slings and they're 60, 70 yards away or whatever. You know what I mean? It'd be a hassle. It really would.
They'd probably, if they had them, let you shoot them if you were competent. They're not going to tell like a competition, like a Olympic archer, like, no, we don't feel like picking up our, in case you miss me.
That's true too, but how many people know?
But it might not be like, come over here and waste everybody's time.
Well, how many people know that if that arrow falls out of the nock and you end up letting go of the string, that bow's going to come apart into 1,000 pieces potentially and injure you and anybody standing around you? And you know, archery is dangerous, and that's one of the things that when archery can be way more dangerous.
He's just being dramatic. He's just being dramatic.
Well, it can be. I mean,
I know you can let the string go and it'll hurt your wrist.
Yeah, you like string burn or something.
You will if you dry fire a bow, you will crack limbs, and if you dry fire a compound bow, that thing is likely to come apart on you. I'm talking about wheels coming off and screws and all kinds of stuff. I know I've seen it happen multiple times, and people have to go to the hospital and get stitches.
Well, dude, you're doing a terrible job of trying to get me to convince myself to be an archery guy because it sounds.
Don't dry fire it. Don't dry fire it.
Yeah. No, I didn't ever remember seeing it, but I figured, well, hell, there's got to be some archery stuff somewhere because I
thought there was way down south there with all that shotgun stuff. I just assumed there was.
Well, the shotgun area had like. The last couple of years has doubled in size, so that's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah. I've never seen. The only thing I've ever seen is crossbow. Now there's some bows and things like that, obviously at SHOT Show, and there may be some bows that are like set out, like on the table or hanging or something like that.
To look at, yeah.
But I've never seen anybody shooting anything. If they were, shooting a recurve would be, or something like that would be the optimal thing to do. Not letting people shoot compound bows.
I just want to shoot like the crossbow that's designed after Chewie's, Chewbacca's rifle.
I'll tell you what, that PSE that fits on the PSE that fits on an AR lower is pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Do they still make that?
I don't know if they do or not, to be honest with
you. You're right, though. That does look a lot like Chewbacca's thing. Dang, no one ever even thought of that back in the day. And it would have been simple to put two like balls on the end, and then it would have looked exactly like it.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
It was made here in Tucson. That debuted in 2009, if I remember right, in Florida.
Right. Yep.
See, it used to be way better. I can remember this stuff like if I got some kind of wizard brain, but it's just because I can remember walking over to the booth, and in Florida, it's like being in some kind of crystal palace, right? Like it was just this giant crystal sky with the blue Florida sky above it. It was all in one room, and I can remember walking up to stuff in Florida, and then, the difference. And so I can remember that year when it was new, walking up to it, and that's how I remember that it was in Florida that year.
Buck wants to know, Clover, does a shotgun bay throw clays or just targets?
Good question, Buck. Yeah, over where I'm talking about with the shotgun, that's the sporting clay. They throw clays over there. There are booths with the handguns and some of the other stuff where you can shoot slugs and buckshot, and you can shoot at steel and different things.
Kind of depends on what the shotgun is, right?
Yeah, the sporting type shotguns are going to be in the section I'm talking about, and
you're talking about the section that's like back behind, like the food trucks, right? Like back there.
Yeah, you turn right when you go in the gate, go all the way to the end, again, and then it's right again. It's facing, or it's out. You shoot out the same direction.
But
you shoot out the same direction.
Yeah.
Yes, true. Yes.
Yeah.
And probably all the other stuff that you have to have when you're doing that stuff, right? All the different accessories and everything.
Yeah.
Now, I say last year, but in 2020, at Antares, they had a pretty sweet little trap and skeet setup there. I know that you shot. We were talking with Jerry there for a while.
Yeah.
But you went and shot down at was it trap or skeet they were doing, or both? I think it was skeet, was it not?
It was.
Or they have both there.
It was. Yeah, it was. They do.
Or they just throw stuff that really wasn't.
They do multiple things, but that day they were just throwing stuff, and that's what they do at SHOT Show too. At Industry Day, I mean, they just have trap machines out there and they're throwing stuff. So I wouldn't call it anything. I mean, get you any type of a electric, motorized thrower, set it out in a pasture, and that's essentially what it is, basically.
Yeah. Now, good question from R4 out there. It says, is it hard to qualify for SHOT Show? Nope. Not really. If you kind of know what you're doing and you're willing to jump in early. Is it hard to qualify? Yes and no. Each year it seems to get different. The first year that I went with like 500 subs. I know that in the last few years there's kind of like been this unwritten thing of 1,000 subs, but that's not always true either. So a lot of it comes down to how you have your channel and your business, quote unquote, set up with a website. Do you have certain things? There's certain criteria that they look for, and if you know those little secrets, then you can get in there.
The more professional and legit it looks.
Yeah,
basically is the way it goes.
Yeah. They don't require a crazy elaborate website or anything, but they want to have a website. They want descriptions to look a certain way. They just want to be like, they just don't want you to be the person who's turning on your cell phone, shooting selfies and calling yourself media.
I don't believe that they're judging as much as they're making sure that you're not gotcha media, like or
Absolutely.
something like foreign where they're not going to understand inadvertently put something out there, Or maybe you're just like something of the day, like, oh, we're gotcha, or not necessarily gotcha, but we're just flaky. Like, oh, we're into guns, and now we're into skateboarding, and now we're into snowmobiling, and they might not want that kind of feel. So I think they don't care so much about that as much as, again, if you were some kind of weird combination of stuff, they're not going to say just anybody can come in, and they are pretty smart about it. They're not like a giant bureaucracy. How many people are NSSF? I would be surprised if it was more than a couple of dozen people. So I'd be surprised if more than 4 people.
It's definitely less
attention to this. So, and they're savvy, so they're going to look at it and go, okay, you're doing what you're trying, what we're looking for, and they don't care that you're small. They understand that diversity and reach is what's valuable.
And you got to start somewhere, right?
Right, and they that's what they do, is they foster that. They're not there as an incubator, but they're not going to inhibit you either. They're not going to prohibit you.
But they're just don't want anyone who's just going to come in
serious, and that you're adding to the group, and you're not going to
absolutely
be so slow or backwards, or like you shoot nothing but 9mm. They're not going to let you in.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Mississippi Thunder, if you're really interested, get with me or Clover G or Noxious, Rogue, Snob, any of those guys, Scary. So
another way is just to walk backwards.
We'll definitely help you.
Walk backwards through the entrance or the exit. You never even look at the exit.
Right. Well, there are ways to go even if you can't qualify and go. So
sure.
Practice walking backwards and saying things like, "That was a great show." And then walk in as you say that.
If you know a gun shop that goes, or a manufacturer that goes, that and G brought up something yesterday that I thought was a great idea that I really hadn't thought about. But if you know a company, a vendor that's going to have a booth there, there's a lot of vendors that are looking for people to work their booth. Say, hey, I don't mind. Maybe you sit there and say, hey, I can work half a day every day for you. Just let me have half a day off and try to get on as their staff and work their booths, whatever.
They might have a big event that they need extra hands on deck, and then they don't need you at all. Absolutely. It might be perfect for them. You don't know, and that's till you ask. And if you ask somebody and they go, we don't need you, but do you mind hauling this for so-and-so, or standing in line with such and such, or wearing this and bending over, then join in.
Yep. So there's always ways. But if you're wanting to go as media, get with us, bro. It's not a problem. We'll get you taken care of. We'll give you the best practices that we know that we've helped many people get in and have, and we learned this from G and other people. What if you
wear a striped shirt, get a weird hat, get a stick, get on one of them boats, and just take that boat down the river, right?
Venetian, and just act like you're you're doing the Venetian thing. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. What are they going to do? Say, you can't come in here? Or just get a big Uber sign with someone's name on there and walk into the shot show and say, I'm looking for Mr. Smith. Your Uber's here. What are they going to do? Tell an Uber driver they can't come in and get his ride? So
different Mr. Smith, not you, Mr. Smith. Different Mr.
Not you, Mr. Smith. Yeah, different Mr. Smith. But it's all good. Wear this and bend over is still how Ghost gets it. Hey, I ain't too proud to beg, man. I'll rock your world. Hey, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, brother. And if I've got to wear this and bend over to get in the shot,
I was thinking one of them foam 9mm suits, or everybody have to crouch over to get into it because it's such a tiny caliber. But I don't know where you guys are going.
Well, I'm a tiny guy, so it'd work out just fine.
Right.
I'm not built like a 50 BMG like you are, G. So let's see here. All right, fuck. Went down rabbit holes. All right, Rogue, I'm going to start with you. Kind of tell people not necessarily where they can find you, but more importantly, $20 is $20. That's for damn sure. And I'll say $5 is $5. Just saying. No band bun. I get they got to grab onto something, so I help them out. They got to grab onto something. Damn it. Jesus. But anyways, Rogue. What I want to talk about now is give your plugs, but more importantly, tell people how you plan on covering next week during SHOT. Do you plan on putting up videos and all that? Tell people where they can find whatever content you are planning on putting out next week.
Yeah, I am not planning on putting out SHOT content while I'm at SHOT. Okay. My focus is on SHOT, on the manufacturers, and building relationships and stuff like that. That's not to say that there won't be pictures on Instagram or something like that, but nothing on the channel. And honestly, I don't know if I'll have anything on the channel at all about SHOT. I've got content already filmed and scheduled. So while I'm at SHOT, I'll have a podcast and a video, podcast on Monday and a video on Friday it'll launch. It has nothing to do with SHOT. So yeah, just go check out the channel on YouTube and stuff like that. You'll see what's going on.
You got it. Stick around. We're going to talk a little bit after the show about some stuff. If you got time to stick around, stick around.
Yep, I got it.
All right. Clove, talk to you a little bit. What kind of content, if any, do you plan on putting out during SHOT, and where can they find that content? Okay, I'll move to G. Just kidding.
I'm chasing the mute button.
I hear you chasing that.
God, I swear. Yeah, where can they find it? Ooh. Obviously, YouTube. I mean, like Rogue, I didn't know.
I didn't know if you're going to be putting out SHOT Show content on YouTube or not.
So the whole idea to me of going to SHOT Show filming, then trying to get back to a place and edit and upload, and that's so unappealing and counterproductive to me. So yeah, there won't be any SHOT Show content, SHOT Show week. Now that's not to say I won't do some things that'll get edited maybe the week after, or something like that. A few things. And so, I've got content stacked and ready. So, the channel is not going to be without content. I've got a SHOT Show related video that'll drop Friday. And then I've got a product release for SHOT Show. I've had the product for, I don't know, close to a month now, I guess. That will release, I think, Tuesday, first day of SHOT Show, because that's where they're going to debut it. So, did have a video drop today too, by the way. I do every Tuesday, but yeah, expect potentially some live streams, especially like the Rogue was talking about earlier. I don't know if we'll get any with
the late night updates, the debriefings.
Don't know if we'll get any with airplanes, but if anything cool happens through the day, or we see anything cool or whatever, might go live for might go live for a little while and do some things like that. So you never know. And then I'm sure I will be taking pictures. I mean, a lot of it is going to be selfies with friends because it's been 2 years, and I'm sure some of the people we hang out with online and stuff like that, silly selfies is just something that's probably going to happen with those folks. And you can get those on Instagram or the community tab here on YouTube is a great place to do that as well. Just about anything I throw on Instagram, I throw on the community tab now.
Yep. Buck out there says that he can start a live chat if we want to jump in live from SHOT. That might be something, that we can probably do. And just kind of send us a text. I think you have most of our numbers, and just send us a text. Hey, here's the link if you guys ever want to jump in during the week or not. That'd be kind of a cool place to have, to where we don't have to worry about setting anything up. That'd be a great idea.
We'd have to do it from the media room or the smoking section or the
not a problem.
Something. The problem with doing it on the floor and people handling firearms, even though it's SHOT Show and they're all disabled.
That's right.
YouTube's gonna freak. So,
yep. Roger Doyd out there says, any opinion about Quest Microsystems, who I believe will be at SHOT? They will be introducing a non-lethal cartridge. He's read anything. You guys even heard of Quest? I never heard of Quest Microsystems. Have you guys heard of them?
I think it's spelt different. I think it's spelt differently, but yeah. Let me go check and see if they're there. KWESST, I think is out. And yes, they are showing up on the list for SHOT Show.
Okay.
Quest is. So I'm familiar, but
I'm not. So
that is about where it ends. It's just familiar.
It says inexpensive firing platforms in any design that fire only the.
Is it like a beanbag when you say non-lethal cartridge?
It says an LEC. An LEC is a universal system for all kinds of thing. So it looks like sort of half of a simunition. So it's like basically the picture of it looks like a plastic wad, except it's like a plastic cartridge or case that you would put a plastic projectile into. So it's sort of like looks like the plastic a milk jug lid is made out of, except it's a case and then a little projectile made of the same stuff, probably with just a primer. So imagine shooting like a really dense piece of plastic nothing out of a gun, I guess. It looks like it's for regular guns in real calibers.
Well, Roger, most
where is
definitely.
Is it in one of those?
I can go check it out for you if you'd like to. Yeah, I could do that. I could probably go check it out.
Thanks for putting it on the radar. I don't know where it is, but if
well, Clover looked it up, so I can go find the booth.
I usually look at ammo stuff. It's more interesting than the boring stuff.
40022 is the booth.
That's the dungeon. So, no, that's over at Caesars.
Is it?
I think is it sevens are over at Caesars. I can't remember. If it's a 5 number, I think that's probably down the dungeon, which is fine. That's great. I'll probably go check them out for you. Interesting. Yeah, for sure. G, do you plan on putting much content out next week, or and if so, are you doing Instagram stuff or YouTube stuff or what?
I don't like to assume I can figure it out beforehand. I got to kind of adapt, but I want to also see what people are interested in, since I'm not going, for the kind of other things that other media are going for. I want to let the people that are sending me decide what I want, what I should be spending my time on, and what, pointing cameras and what. So live is always cool. I was definitely going to recommend, what was that Buck recommended?
Yeah, you sure did.
There's not, just because somebody's going to SHOT Show. I mean, when you do anything alone, like you can just as easily offer. If you wait for somebody at SHOT Show to ask for a room, then you might be waiting a long time because they're going to be overwhelmed and running all around. But if you make some plans and make some arrangements ahead of time to host some live stuff and send links, text links to people, remember that they're not reading emails when they're running all around doing stuff. But if you text them and they've got more than one phone and you're texting the appropriate phone and you're not texting them in the middle of a video they're recording, so know who you're sending it to. But there can be things that can be useful like that could take SHOT to a whole nother level and let people participate and not just participate, but like contribute to the coverage of SHOT Show. That was one of the things. How long did I try to get that on gun channels? To have like a lobby or a room that was dedicated to SHOT that we could all jump into and monitor. And then you take that to the next level. Facilitating that should be simple. We do that constantly. We're doing it right now. That should be nothing. That's just a matter of like who opens the room. And now that we have the guest feature on here, it's even easier, right? Because now you can do it on the channels where people are expecting to see it. But to the next level is to have somebody who's, doing air traffic control or getting people to appointments and stuff, like the same way that, there's lots and lots of ways that people could be creative. So if you're waiting for other people to be creative, think about the person going to SHOT is planning, getting their travel ready, if they haven't traveled a lot, they're figuring out how to travel. If they haven't traveled to Vegas, they're trying to get their bearings and orientation there. There's so many layers of what they're working on. So offering stuff, the worst that happens is you offer it to them and they don't use it, but potentially somebody out there that wants to offer it and then create a whole nother level of SHOT where there's no after party, it's an after chat room. And then it's, people can jump in, and potentially an after chat room would be amazing because there's people that go out to a noisy casino and I'm never going to go there. There's people that go to a little quiet place and smoke cigars. I'm just not interested in that, right? There's people that get slammed drunk, but they could all have a phone in their pocket. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of people that could potentially jump into a live thing. And what would that do to facilitate SHOT Show for 2A, at least? I don't care about anything else, but for 2A, that'd be awesome. And, for all the other things, just making sure that ranges find out about new devices and that maybe there's a lawyer that can find out about something that they wouldn't have found out about if they weren't jumping into a chat like that where they've got a variety of people joining in. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, be creative, think of stuff, offer it, set up rooms or
websites,
live
streams. for people that are driving, live streams can literally be a lifesaver. So
yes, they can.
Yep, that's true. And then Pink used to do a whole thing. I can't even try to recollect all the stuff because I wasn't.
I'm gonna miss Pink this year. I'm gonna miss Pink.
Yeah, he's not going, and he would do a thing with gun channels where people would he had a system, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't remember what his system was because I didn't do the system, but he would get a bunch of ideas from people, what they wanted to see, and he would literally make sure he took pictures of everything. And he had a lot of fun because he went there to take pictures, but he didn't really care what he was taking pictures of. He had a couple of things he cared about, but then he was happy to seek out and get all the stuff people wanted. And that makes it interactive at a whole nother level. So no doubt. I don't know if you got people out there like Pink anymore, but you could find them out there.
So are we going to kick back up SHOT Show Bingo this year, G? I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I do SHOT Show Bingo every year. So I try to do mine. I started doing that because it was some kind of sarcastic thing where people that don't like trade shows or don't like the idea of the industry getting together or don't understand the significance of what the potential is and the consequences that come out of everybody meeting with each other besides just the crowd or whatever. So I try to make mine things that people are content creators or people just want to lift their head up once in a while and have a reason to lift their head up once in a while. Pay attention to the fact that we have the industry together for a week. You guys are all talking about the elements of it you like, but man, can you imagine some of the other stories? There's just uncountable stories. Man. So just to kind of think about all the different facets of it, I try to make the bingo something that's not just funny and light, but just also kind of to give people a way to get their heads up out of their projects and think about it a little bit more if they want to, without any obligation, just so you think about it and you think about, hey, who can I buy a lunch for a vet? Like, you're not going to see a lot of people in uniforms, but you'll see some. You're going to be knocked down. If you've never been there before, you're going to be knocked down by some of the badges and stuff. Like, you're like, what am I reading? Am I reading what I think I'm reading? And if that person is, in line and you go, hey, that beer's on me, or like, hey, something like that, like, you can do stuff like that. That's just the one little sliver of the ways you can play with SHOT a little bit. So that's what the bingo is all about.
Absolutely. It's a great time. It's fun too. As for me, most of the content we're going to be putting out next week will be through Instagram and the community tab, and all of that stuff is obviously shared to Facebook. So if you're on those, there might be the occasional surprise video that pops up. Don't really know. Probably not. Most, if there is, it may be like one or something. But yeah, most of it's going to be over on Instagram. And then that's pushed over to Facebook, and then obviously in the community tab, a lot of photos and all that stuff. So that's what we're looking forward to doing. We'll have a lot of content, and I would say there'll be some content after the fact. The next couple of weeks after SHOT Show, we'll get some videos put together and all that. Excuse me. But looking forward to that. Clove, Rogue, G, anything else before we get out of here in closing?
Getter and Rumble and all them. Anybody going to be posting on the alt plats?
I don't do those. I just haven't had time to set them up or anything.
I tried them and I get zero traffic for the time that it takes to do it. And so I quit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just find them annoying.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, of the.
Well, then what about the gun stream? What about full 30?
What are you going to post to full 30 is the question. You're going to have to create content during SHOT Show. You know what I mean? So.
In other words, the only way you can post there is with prepared videos also.
Yeah. Like upload, you can't go live there. So what are you going to do?
And you're not going to do pictures and all of that stuff. So, yeah.
I mean, if you could, Full 30 has the built-in forum. So, potentially I could get some traffic there.
Is there going to be any gun streamers, full 30s, gun tubes recommended or represented at SHOT?
That's a good question. I need to get with Jared with full 30 and see if he's going to be at SHOT. In fact, I'll do that.
I don't even know if I don't even know who's with Gunstreamer anymore. I haven't talked to them since 2019.
Yeah, they're kind of they kind of remind me of YouTube. They're kind of on autopilot. It seems almost like you can't really get anybody, reach anybody. Yeah.
YouTube isn't on autopilot. There's people at YouTube.
$2 super chat from Mandatory Carry. Appreciate you, brother. G23 says he can go live on Utreon holding firearms and shooting firearms. There you go. If you want to set up a stream maybe and we can do some stuff from a booth, or maybe let us know. That's up to you. I've never been on
with Rumble,
so I have no idea.
I learned about the Rumble more recently. I was on it for probably from last year when there was all the concern about jumping platforms and stuff. So I wanted to test it out. I didn't really, I was the same kind of attitude as you guys. It's not really doing anything. Nobody uses it. But then all the reloaders started using it. The Georgia Connection folks started using it. So I went over there to pay attention again, and it does allow streaming for free, FYI. Yeah. And like they say, you can hold guns on it and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's where Hank does his streaming now. He probably has a deal with him to do it over there, but I think that's what he does.
Exclusively or additionally?
I know. I think he does his nightly podcast. I think he streams it over on Utreon now, and then rips that video and just uploads it to YouTube now. But he might have a deal with Utreon. I don't know. It would seem kind of weird to just do Utreon and not YouTube, unless he might have a deal with him or something. I don't know that, but I do know that he no longer does it live on YouTube. He does it over on Utreon.
Huh.
So I don't know. Go figure. That's Hank, and he's a little different. So he, like I said, he might have a deal, or he just might have gotten sick of, I don't know, whatever, but it is what it is. So yeah, like I said, myself, Rogue, Clover, G, we know Mr. Big Kid's going to be there. We know that Snob, Obnoxious, Sarge, Gizzard, there's going to be a ton of them. I think there's going to be our buddy Mark from Fit and Fire, I believe is going to be at least for a couple days. There's going to be quite a few, at least going to be there for a couple days and all that. The last time I heard, Yankee was thinking about going. I don't know, Yankee definitely going to go, or he's not going?
He is not going.
Okay. I know he was thinking about it at one point. Obviously, we've got 2 or 3 guys with Jeff and TJ and maybe AJ from Gear Report going to be there. So, be looking out for on all those different channels and all the different platforms, and be looking out for some coverage. If there is something
Tony
that
Simon
you
will
want
be there.
to see,
Riding Shotgun with Charlie will be there.
Yep.
KD will be there. No other choice. And the Train and Learn.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Tony for sure, and Charlie. What was I going to say? If there is something that you guys want to get a hold of and try to get done, I would say the best way for me, if you don't have my cell number, then you can't text me. But what you can do is, if you're on Instagram, you can DM me. And if you're saying, hey, can you go check out this for me? And I will definitely go check it out, take a picture and tag you in it and all of that. But yeah, I would imagine that there are ways to get a hold of all of us. Texting or DMing would probably be much easier than emailing at this point, because we're going to get flooded with emails every day at SHOT. So DMing or texting, if you have some of our numbers, doing that would be the best way. But yeah, don't be afraid to reach out and say, hey, I'd like maybe to see a picture of this, or can you go take a look at this and let me know what you think? Absolutely. I have no problem doing that. Just send me a text or DM or whatever.
That's a good point too, for those that are at SHOT Show and you want to make us aware of something, or, hey, we need to meet on this floor.
Don't send an email.
Text, do a text, without a doubt, do a text. Every time I walk away from a booth or something like that, I usually film with my phone and take pictures and all that anyway, and I'll usually just flip it to see if there's any text. But I mean, if it's ringing, and a lot of times I don't even know.
Yep, for sure. But we'll set up maybe a group chat or text chat or whatever. But yeah, anyways, guys, looking forward to it. We will not have a podcast next Tuesday. Obviously, we will be in Vegas, and so we will not be doing a show next Tuesday night. So that being said, we will see you in 2 weeks, and we'll be doing a recap of SHOT Show probably. So if you're one of the people that don't like SHOT Show, the next couple of weeks is probably going to be absolute hell for you. Not just from this channel, but from a lot of other channels. So we'll see you in a few weeks. If you do like the SHOT Show stuff, then this is going to be the next 3 weeks for you is going to be awesome. But if you're not able to go, for sure, If you want to see something, let one of us know, and we could definitely, between the group of us, we can make sure that we'll go look at it and tag you in it or whatever. Big Kid, we will see you out there for sure, my brother. And we'll see a bunch of other people out there. So we will see you in 2 weeks for the show, but be looking all next week from the coverage from SHOT Show 2022. Till next time, Semper Fi.